Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of Gacha Pity Livin. My name is Fabian. With me is
Calm down.
Down. A little background for us, a background of us. Com and I met on Twitch. We are Twitch streamers part-time. You can see Com on his respective channel, and my socials will be put up soon. I'm going through a remodeling phase right now. But yeah, we found each other playing some fighting games, and then over time our friendships grew, and then we both realized that we really enjoy gachas. We really enjoy that type of gaming, that era of life, almost it feels like, and sometimes.
It's crazy, man, because this connection is like coming up around like 5 years, I think, if we do the math
Actually, yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
And at the same time, gotchas have been around for quite a bit of time, but I feel like this modern age of gotchas and the trajectory, that's also kind of like 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
So it's more poignant than ever how all this stuff is tying in together. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, so our goal with this podcast as of now is to at the start of the month try to go over the monthly revenue recap that they put on the r/gotcha gaming Reddit, and we're gonna go through it, give our thoughts and ideas, and also talk about our experiences with these games, our experiences with it, our experience with gotchas, and also be talk more about that broad. So for instance, as Com just brought up before we go on. What was your first mobile game that you actually started playing? And I'm not saying just like during COVID, but like the first one that you got on your phone that was like, hey, this is cool.
So I'm going to give like a two-part answer for that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the first one that I really actually tried was probably Brave Frontier, but it was their next game,
Oh.
Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, that I put in the time. And like I played that seriously, as in like keeping that daily streak for like 2.5 years, I think, was
Oh.
how they did. Because the big problem with that game and that publisher, Gumi, at this point, like if you know, you know, but
Yeah.
they had the big problem of power creeping their characters. Every gacha has this problem to a certain extent, right? But no, Gumi did it where they power crept their character every 2 weeks. Like they got to that point where it's like you can't do it like that, man. Then they kept escalating from 5-star characters to whoa, it's the 6-star character meta. When it got to the 7-star character meta, dude, like no, that I was kind of over it at that point. It got to the point where I got one of the rainbow pools that I was hoping for,
Uh-huh.
And normally when you're doing those pools, it's that hype moment, you get that adrenaline going, and I got it, and dude, I felt so empty. Like that drop off, like that was the sobering moment for me on that. I don't regret my time at all, but yeah, I think ffbe back in the day, such a fun subreddit too. Like that was like the real heavy hitter, the first one for me.
Yeah, for me it was I'm trying to think the first like well yeah well I mean I think when I first got my like iPod was like 20 or 2000 like 10 11ish, so a lot of the games at that time were what they were like, Flappy Bird
Mm-hmm.
and Angry Birds was just blowing up the scene, and other little
Temple
cute
Run stuff.
yeah, cute little games. I remember there was one where you would just throw grenades at some guy and just do puzzles that you would see like on cool math games or like those like like kind of
Yeah.
school websites. And but I remember the first type of gotcha that I started playing was Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and that was around 20. I think I got there like as it was already like 6 months into its lifespan. I think because it just hit 10 years. So I think I played it 6 months after it came out, and that was the first time outside of DLCs, because like I'm never gonna say I like because I know there's some people I'd say like they've never spent money on video games, but obviously like I
Mm-hmm.
spent like my allowance on like on like Halo DLCs and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But yeah, Star Wars Galaxy Heroes was the first type of time I was introduced into like a gotcha type mechanic. And Yeah, I've been playing that game on and off for about 10 years. I think for like the first 4 years, me and my brother played it straight, and then yeah, we I played it for about 4 years straight, and then kind of how you're talking about with your game, they kind of hit. I don't even want to say power creep. It was like a money creep. Like they got really greedy out of nowhere. That like one of uh one of their community directors at the time actively said, if you're not spending 4,000 a month, you're or 4,000 a week, I think you're not going to be competitive. And
Whoa.
that's heartbreaking to say because at first you start thinking, how the hell am I even going to spend $4,000 on this game? But then once you start trying to get the resources and the pools for the resources and blah blah blah, blah then I'm like, oh, and that's why I'm super curious why they don't consider that game a gotcha or why it's not put in these gotcha lists. When I'm like, dude, they literally monetize getting resources. It actually, it's crazy. It's not even for the characters you're pulling half the time. You're pulling for a chance to get the resource to upgrade the character that you went to pull for. It is so predatory. But I hate to say it, but it's so addicting. Like I like that's why, to be honest, I don't go to casinos or gamble because I know that I would just be like hooked. That I'm like, no, I can't do it.
I know that my co-host on another show, Keo Bostein, like he said a similar thing that he knows his personality, and that's why he's really wary of like ever starting a gotcha. For me, because I've had job instability and I'm pretty responsible with my money, I've stayed like the free to play dolphin route for like so long. It's not until this latest string of gotcha play where I have my feet under me for now, knock on wood, and taking it kind of day by day, week by week, that I'm
Yeah,
spending a little bit more, but it still works within my budget. So
yeah.
I'm never, again, knock on wood, throw back to the ffbe subreddit community. There have been like whale of a tales of dudes spending exorbitant amounts of money into the gotcha, and like they're getting hooked because, oh, Final Fantasy VII characters in this. Like, I gotta get Cloud. Oh my god, Tifa. Oh my god, Tifa in this outfit. And I think the dude spent like $15,000 in the game, like
No,
within a short.
I remember way back yonder before really spending a lot of money on these games was a thing, right? Because for a long time it was taboo, right? But
Mhm.
I remember two articles stick out to me. There was one of those games, one of those like build your base type games and go fight other base type games. You know, I forget what that genre is called, but it was like Rise of War or Ages of War or something like that. But back in 2012, a dude stole $3 million from his job to spend money on
Mm.
that game, and he still wasn't the top of the game. It's hilarious. He still wasn't the top of the game, but like he spent that much money. But there was another guy in China that kind of similar to what you're saying. He was trying so hard to pull for one of his waifus that I don't remember if he stole money or if he was just on the game so long that he ended up spending $27,000, and I think after doing that he still didn't pull the character, and I think that's one of the reasons I think that's one of the reasons why they had to start introducing pities and they had to start introducing percentages, and I just laughed because his name was like Tasty. It was like Tasty Bok Choy or something like that, and
Okay.
I just remember the comments being like, "My boy Taste didn't get a taste," and it's just like, ah,
It I mean, it's tough because like in the gotcha landscape, there's I would say most of the time with like these heavy spenders, and I do want to go back to that Star Wars gotcha, not gotcha that you're talking about, but
hmm
it seems to be like it's usually the PvP focused gotchas that
yeah,
absorb the most amount of money. Most of the
hmm
time with like PvE stuff with the story content, yeah, you have events, yeah. They draw people in to spend for pools for getting their character, because that's where the gamble is, but the people who get it in their heads where they want to be on the top of the ranking boards and whatnot, like that seems to be driving even more of the sales rather
yeah,
than just getting the characters on their own. The dev for that Star Wars game, and like to your point about why is this not considered a gotcha, even though like there's so much money and like there's roles for characters and all that. Um, I'll let you know, man. Like, I don't think I'm familiar with this title at all. Is it developed by one of the quote unquote major uh, publishers, like NetEase or something like that? Or do you
uh,
know?
yes, EA.
Oh,
EA, it's in the cash.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I'm sure you know of the Madden games and everything that they're and like FIFA, right? Predatory games with their
Yeah.
packs to build their super teams. So that's why I guess maybe because it's just not from one of those companies that maybe it doesn't fall under that banner, but it's just like
Could
I don't
be.
like I'm telling you like again we'll get into it in a bit of how much we spent recently, but in this last month I put a lot more than I wanted to into getting a specific version of Darth Vader. But what's upsetting though is not even just for him; it's to get the materials to level him up. So when like, it's a whole thing we could talk about at another time, or I'll probably talk about in one of my other side videos. But yeah. So as we're talking about that, let's go and get started on this list, so that way we're not here a long time. So coming in at number one, I think is. Oh, sorry. Did you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, like,
Oh,
this thread that you're following on, like, I
yeah,
enjoy keeping up with this as well.
yeah,
Somehow, I think just because like time's flying by so quickly, I have not seen this report. So I just want to go in mentioning that I've remained blind into it. So as of this moment right now, I'm clicking in, and I have no idea what to expect. I have my predictions, of course, because like sometimes you have some of these rankings that are fairly consistent. I have an idea who the top three are probably going to be, but we'll go from there. That's all I want to say.
yeah. Gotcha. So coming in first place, I think to surprise of nobody, is Genshin Impact. They went from 40 million to 66 million. Uh, I know that they had like a specific like two characters.
Columbina.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
gonna say that just came out. So obviously, Naruto Mobile went is in second place. Went from 19 million to 44 million. Now that one, I'll be honest, I have no idea what's going on in that game. Besides, it's a Naruto game, so I don't know if they just had like a limited character or because I know that game's relatively new, right? Like last 6 months or last year.
Yeah, the okay, so two things I want to say real quick,
Yeah,
man. So first about Naruto, like all I know is about a lot of these anime shonen focused gacha games, they have some involvement with Bandai Namco because they have like the licensing rights, you know. And they always profit early on pretty well, but the end of service like rolls in pretty quick as well.
well, yeah,
I'm
it
not
just happened
wishing
to the
doom.
yeah.
I'm not wishing ill will or anything like that. I haven't checked out this game. Like, I don't even know what this current one plays like. But outside of Dragon Ball, you know, Dragon Ball is its own kind of beast and like its own kind of island. I feel like every other shonen, whether it's Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and then like whatever newer anime shonen that's popular, My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, all that stuff, they have
Solo
a shelf
Rising.
life of maybe 2 years at most. You know,
Mm.
like it's not uncommon for these Bandai Namco IPs to get the rug pulled out from under them within a year. Then the other thing I want to point out is these sales that goes on this report, man. You should know that this is only mobile.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever they're making buku's amount of money here that's reported on this, that's not including PC client side. This is not including Steam. This is not including console iterations of it. So for
Or PC apps,
Genshin,
yeah.
yeah, for Genshin to make 66 million in this past month, dude, it I don't think it'd be crazy to say it's probably actually like double that amount, right?
Well, I'd say even triple, right? Because you're right. Because they're on Xbox, they're on PlayStation, they're on Steam. That I think they're on Epic too, right? I think
Yeah, yeah,
that
you're
it's
right.
like
You're right.
who knows how big. But you're right. But that's gonna be a point to a specific game in a bit. Coming in third place is Love and Deep Space. They actually lost almost half of the revenue from 84 million to 35 million. Again, I think that has to do just with banners. I think last month they had like some like Winter Soldier type character that was like
Okay.
I think I might be wrong,
Dude,
LNDS fans.
can I ask you like how
Yeah.
much do you know about this game? Because I know bare minimum, right? Like I know that this is like hot thirsty boy gotcha. Oh, it's so great that everybody can have their husbando game too, you know? But I'll tell you, man, the only reason why I actually have this on my radar is because the current creative director of Warframe, she's a super weeb.
Bruh.
She's into gacha and stuff like this. She was thirsting over love in Deep Space in just like a dev talk conversation
Yeah.
that other people are like, "What is this?" And she showed a screenshot of her husbando that she pulled. So I I'm not against it or anything like that. I'm just like surprised that whoa, like because she's into niche type stuff, right? But the fact
Yeah.
that she likes this thing and this is, dude, this is huge. Like not only is it like third here, it's beating out other
There are a lot of huge
Hoyoverse
things in
type.
this game.
Ew.
Oh.
But I also kind of wonder, like, another way to look at the perspective, right? Where you're not wrong that this is like a huge drop off, like 85 million the previous month, right? But I wonder if you also look at it, it's like, dude, if they can just maintain that 35 million norm and they just had like an insane December, January month with, okay, the Winter Soldier character or whatever, but as long as they're not trying to shoot for like that high each amount of time, that's essentially like their happy accident. If they can just like maintain this train of 35 million a month again for just like mobile sales, dude, they're going to be healthy for a long freaking time, right?
Yeah, so to answer the question, how much do I know about it? I thought it was like a graphic novel for the longest time. I didn't know what it was until on my Twitch chat, a lot of my degenerate female viewers came in and started telling me about it. And then I started seeing the outrageous outfits and scenarios that they go through in that game. To be honest with you, I don't even know what the actual gameplay is in that game. I know that there's a fighting mechanic in the game. You could point a gun in my head, and I would tell you, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
So your assumption of it being a visual novel, also, like, I don't think that's a bad guess, just for like the name, like the more that you're in this gaming sphere, the more you get into gachas, like you just hear certain titles, like, is this an idle game? Is this like like a super degen game, or is this like a text heavy game? Yeah, and that would have been my guess too, hearing Love in Deepspace, right?
Its art style too doesn't show me combat. It shows me, like you're
shows
saying,
you skin.
Well, no, and I mean no, but I mean like the actual way that game is shaded and rendered. I think I'm about to read an essay of text. Like that's what I feel like, and perhaps there is. I don't know, but for those who enjoy it, they enjoy it. I just think though the like double standard is, well, okay, how do I put it? It's not a crazy double standard, but it's crazy how, because I'll be honest, some of the interactions that the female protagonist has with those males are like, and they've been having for years, were light years ahead of any other game that like we potentially played. But
that's
it's
progress,
like,
man. It's 2026.
I guess right.
They can be doing this. It's like the criticism that DC got for like speed running making the Justice League movie versus like the Marvel MCU when they were like phasing out like the individual movies, is like, do they got to follow the same blueprint? I mean, also, like, maybe they feel like, hey, since we are the husbando game for this gen, like we got to carry that torch of momentum for all these other games that don't exist, or all these other games that probably shuddered.
Because I don't think there's that many husbando type, at least on this poll. But coming in fourth place, we have Pokemon TCG Pocket that lost not a huge amount, only 2 million, from 37 million to 35 million. I've never played this game, but from my understanding, and this could be one of ignorance, is that it's very pay to play. Like if like you want to be competitive, because I think this is the MOBA, right? This is their like little 3v3.
So.
Yeah. If so, I keep hearing that it's super like pay to play. It's funny. Every time I hear a game where they say it's fully pay to play, and all my friends are like, I'm never gonna play it, I see them on Twitch streaming that game, and I'm like, bruh. So I don't know. It's always funny.
Compartmentalize, man. Like, it's for them, I don't think they think they're lying when they tell you this. They just say it's different. It's a different thing. I see where you're coming from. To me, it doesn't feel any different. But again, like, going back to what you were talking about before with like your Star Wars thing, and when we were talking about PvP focused gotchas, like, easy moneymaker there, right? So I mean, the fact that you are battling other people, like, that's the name of the game. That would make sense why it's making the revenue it's making.
Yeah, but I mean, I was gonna say but it's very similar. But it's like, I feel like that's weird when a MOBA is gonna like, again. So this is coming from hearing it out of the grapevine. I can't speak of experience, but it's like you almost have to, from my understanding, pay to like level up your character's abilities further. And that's kind of crazy in a game like that's League of Legends type to think that, I would have to pay $10 to be able to use my ultimate. Now, again, it could be an ignorant point, but that's what I think was the issue, kind of. I don't know. But coming in fifth place on this list to round off the top 5 is Fate Grand Order, which actually had a pretty significant increase of 28 from 28 million to 33 million. Now, Fate Grand Order, I feel like that's one of those games that's been around for ages now too, right?
It's one of the OGs. I think it precedes Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. This is around the time of I want to say probably before Dragalia Lost and what else was around that time? Fire Emblem Heroes or just within months or a few months of each other, right? I'll just say, man, for Fate as the series, right? It blows my mind how it was able to get this reach and fandom that it has, where it's not exclusive to Japan anymore. Because another thing that we should talk about, man, how many of these gachas aren't Japan focused, right?
Yeah.
They started out that way. Maybe not the Star Wars one, right?
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy definitely, and Fire Emblem and Dragalia Lost, all those I just mentioned right there. Fate being one of those, but the Fate IP has been so ludicrously successful for that company. But Fate is also the same people who made Melty Blood. I don't know if you ever heard of that series, but it's very poverty poverty fighting game community. That's what you're thinking. The lore of Melty Blood is whenever they're having Evo and whatever esports tourney, even before esports became esports, right? Melty Blood was the fighting game that you played on a CRTV in the bathroom. And there's photos of that. It's that just low poverty. So the niche of the niche who love it, they really love it and enjoy it. I will say that, dude, for your love and appreciation of Dead or Alive, for 3D fighting games, I kind of think Melty Blood, for how it feels, is kind of that way for 2D fighters, and it just doesn't get the respect it does. They had a newer Melty Blood fighting game, Type Lumina, dude, five years back, maybe, again, that magical 5-year number. And it did okay, because their expectations on how much it would profit would be so low. But you compare the numbers for Melty Blood and that franchise in its entirety compared to Fate in all its anime adaptations or whatever, it is a night and day difference. And I don't know why there's that huge of a disparity, even though it's the same people.
Yeah, it's just sometimes I think it's I don't know. I think that's something we'll talk about more towards the end when we're recapping on some games. But coming in at number 6, entering for the first time in its life, Arknights Endfield. It went from no money to 29 million. However, I do want to make a caveat because this was actually a post that people were talking about. Let me see. Let me pull it up. So this is gonna be one of those things. I have the article, but I'm a little too lazy to pull up on screen. But basically, they achieved overall 1.2 billion RMB. I'm not sure what RMB. What that?
I think it was currency? Something like 100 million. It's something to that effect, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. 107. Yeah. What is it? That'll be the clickbait. Arknight 1 billion. But no, it made 172 million USD dollars globally.
For its debut, dude. Movies wish they could have that box office opening. You know what I mean?
Which actually, I think I don't remember, but I don't think Genshin or a couple other games had that lucrative of a star. Yeah. But we'll talk more about Arknights Endnights towards the after this list. Monster Strike. Never really heard of it, but if I had to guess, it's probably one of those ones where you probably hatch some egg and it's probably idle battler, I imagine. I apologize if I'm misrepresenting your game, but that went from 23 million to 27 million. That's a good month. Zenless Zone Zero coming in at 27 million to 23 million. But I think they're having a story update coming out soon, right? I think that's hitting next month or in the month to come.
Well, so they're about to release like this new faction, the Angels of Delusion, and they're characters that aren't really hitting for me, but they've been teased ever since like 1.0 gen for Zenless. All right, so
Yeah,
I think this next when we revisit this next time, like the
they're
numbers will
probably gonna
probably
go
be
up. Yeah,
go up. But something else I'll just mention on Zenless, I'm always surprised that this 20 million range seems to be where it hovers around
yeah.
consistently, and I get it if Zenless is not for other people, they like their other type of stuff. But I also I'm just always surprised, and like I keep my fingers crossed that the longevity of the game will be there, especially since I am spending money in Zenless, right? But
Yeah.
I think it is healthy, But I just want to point out that I am always kind of surprised that it's not higher than it seems to be on that report. But again,
Well,
maybe on console or PC, like maybe that's where more of the money
maybe
goes instead. Because
yeah.
this is a tough game to play on mobile.
I know on
Yeah.
Xbox it is very popular. A lot of my friends do play it on Xbox. Speaking for myself personally, because I've tried Zenless Zone Zero about 4 times now, and I'll play for about a month, and I never feel really inclined to spend money. I'll be honest with you, because that UI to spend money is horrendous. Like
It is.
it is just, and it's so weird because Hoyo's. Well, actually, I was gonna say usually it's that bad, but then Honkai 3D Impact is an abomination towards man. But but yeah, so like I feel like with Zenless, if they made it easier and not so, but that's Zenless's whole theme, right? Like they're like like not edgy, but
We'll
they're like,
say
oh, internet cafe type with punk.
if it bothers you, if you have like unread emails in your inbox, you don't start Zenless because
Yeah.
like you will have like red exclamation points out the wazoo, and like it sucks because they do have crossplay on it, right?
Yeah.
So the same account I can log into my PC, my phone, my
Which is
Xbox,
great.
or PlayStation,
Great
which
when
which
games
is
have that.
great,
Yeah.
but it doesn't preserve that red notification. So I might clear everything on one platform. When I log in another one, I have to do it all over again, dude. And like again, it might sound ridiculous compared to like all the other stuff that we can complain about on like a gotcha game, but I'm telling you, like it is a legit trigger warning.
Yeah.
If that stuff bothers you, it, that's why I want to downplay your criticism there, because I've gotten used to it enough, right?
Yeah.
But I can still remember my first month of trying Zenless, and when I initially fell off was because I was criticizing the UI and talking about like this is way too much. This is trying
Yeah.
way too hard to be stylish. Like I'm in a way glad that it's not trying to like, copy the Persona UI too much, even though you can make a little bit of comparison here and there. But I was just
Mhm.
like, man, like you don't even have to do this much. Like it's okay to tone back a little bit. And even with like the art styles, the way they do stuff, from the models to the character art, and they have like their form of like chibi kind of. I say chibi, but their version of chibi almost looks more like Powerpuff Girls art style. I
Yeah.
think that clashes. I don't think they synergize with each other. But again,
Yeah.
well,
We'll probably talk more about Zenless when we talk about Hoyo as a company. Coming in on where are we?
number 9.
Number 9. SD Gundam Generation Eternal. This game's not bad. It just wasn't for me. I understand why it's popular. I understand why it's getting profit because I think more and more people are getting to it, and I think it's a cool game. But it's like 12 gigs, and it's not that pretty of a game to begin with. And not to say it's not a good game, but it's like it's a very like 2D pixelated type game, but you can't make me download 13 gigs and be a 2D pixel type game. Come on now. Like, like it's great that they have a lot of game modes and a lot of stuff. And obviously Gundam is a beloved franchise, Like, while I don't know too much about the lore, I've bought in tons of Gundams throughout my life, that it's like, so that's cool.
just big
Good for them.
robots are cool.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I don't know where this falls in the purview of again, like Gundam falls under the Bandai Namco licensing. I
Yeah.
don't know how well these Gundam games do as far as like shelf life, if they also run into the curse of like short EOS or not.
Yeah,
So that would be something that I would be wary
it'll be
of if I
interesting
was spending
it'll
money.
be interesting to see because I think this game's about a year old. I think It's not that old because
Okay.
I know I downloaded it last year and as I told you off video. I try my best to try most gotchas that come out, but there's some that we'll talk about when they come up that I just skip just on principle. Coming up on number 10, I think I can't see on the.
Yep. Number 10.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep, coming up on number 10 is Nikkei Goddess of Victory. They went from 17 million to 18 million, and that's because
Ooh, big
they released
bucks.
that librarian chick. But this month, they have a whole new scandalous skin. They have like another character coming out and a whole story chapter. So I'm expecting Nikkei to go up next month. Coming up is Withering Waves. Combined went lost money from 23 million to 18 million. But I think that's generally because in January, there really wasn't anything, right? It was just, I don't know if it was a rebanner or it wasn't.
So they are slowly starting to introduce like the new area, new terrain, and like all these modern lore characters. Because like the way that Wuthering Waves goes is like once they have like the definitive marking point, then it's like that point on is like 5 new characters, like that type of thing. So it's
Yeah.
like sort of in the in between mode of like releasing some of those characters. But again, like the pink haired chick, Amianth, who will count for February. Like I imagine, like I've seen a lot of people saying that they've stayed free to play in Withering Waves until Amian's popped out, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, she broke me, man! Like I'm going for her."
Well,
But
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say everything that I wanted to say about Zenless before about its sales, I think also applies to Wuthering Waves. Again, like I do have my bias, and like I'm not trying to get so caught up in like the gotcha wars of like, yeah, I need my game to make tons of money. But I'm just like, man, Wuthering Waves to me feels pretty solid. Again, might not be for everybody, but I'm like, whoa, like as far as like quality goes, it's only right here. Like some of this other stuff that's above it, this that SD Gundam game is above it. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's one of those things. I feel like Gundam and Godzilla. Ironically, Godzilla's mobile game is never going to be on these lists, but I feel like SD and Godzilla always have such quiet fan bases. They aren't very in your face fans, but they're there. They're there in
Mm.
troves. Coming up at number 12 is Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, which I think this is a pretty old game too, right? I think they're on what's that
Yeah.
say year it doesn't say a year, but yeah, I know this game. I think has been along for a while. They went from 8 million to 18 million, and that's the funny thing with this Dragon Ball Z game. And obviously, I think it's obviously the common factor of new characters or new pool or something. So I'm sure we'll see that one drop next month. Coming up at number 13 is Arknights, the game that just continues to keep thriving. Went from 10 million to 16 million. That's a game too. I tried it. It was fun. It's a great game, great story. I don't know. It was one of those things that I think a lot of other games came around it, and I ended up liking the other games more than it. So I ended up falling off of it, but it's still a great game.
I mean,
Uh,
it's tower defense, right? So
yeah,
that's already kind of
a
like
niche.
for people who love it, you love it, and then everybody else is like, eh.
Yep. Coming up at number 14 is Ume Sume Pretty Derby, combined globally from 22 million to 15 million. And that's because in December they had their, and I can understand that. This last month they didn't have month. Obviously, global. Like they are like introducing characters and shooting characters, but obviously they're always not great. But in December they had released released finally for the global users the Kitsuna Black.
I
I can't forgive me if I'm butchering the names, but which is a card that everybody sought after, even myself, and I didn't pull it. So let's not talk about that. Going up to number 15 is Dragon Ball Legends, with combined globally. This one lost money from 17 to 13 million. I'm not sure which one's new. I'm not sure if it's Dragon Ball Dokkan or Legends that's
I
new, but one of
I
these is newer.
yeah. Yeah, I think Legends is newer because I feel like Dokkan Battle, dude, like that's I want to say that's as old as like the Dragon Ball fighting game Fighter Z, and Fighter Z is like 2016, 2017, I think. Um, one thing that, if you don't mind, man, just going back to
Yeah.
Uma Musume real quick, um, I'm sure that the success of this globally super surprised and stumped the Japanese devs. they never imagined that it would get this type of reception, and that's half the reason why they kept it in just Japan for as long as they did, right?
Yeah.
So something's working for it. Even if these numbers, like let's say Uma Musume, like what if it never breaks top 10? What if it hangs around 14 or the 20th ranking place, right?
Yeah.
That's still going to keep them afloat, and like they don't mind making those numbers because they still consider Japan like their main community and fan base. And
Yeah.
it's been in Japan for like 5+ years, right? So they've had all that time to rake in that money. I assure you, man, all this is just like treated as bonus. And,
Yeah.
surprisingly for like these Japanese gacha games, it does have like a Steam client release.
Yeah.
So,
Which makes it a lot more friendly to play. But no, Uma's I know you aren't that big of a player of it, but for myself and a lot of my Twitch community, which there's one in chat, actually like we really like went with it. I don't know what it is. Like at first for me it was like the story. I'm a big fan if like the story can either make me laugh or make me go like, oh, I'm usually kind of hooked, you know. And obviously
mhm.
in that game they have so many different racers and their quirks and their I want to say their issues, but it's just like their like dramas going on, that I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm sold. But
Well,
now when I play, I'm not even looking at the story. I just have it on like the quick event. I just want to race. I just want to win. So it's like, yeah,
so can I ask you then?
yeah, ask.
Because like I look at Uma Musume, because like even one of my friends who's maybe in his past life he was way more weeb in DJ, and I'm not even trying to say like Uma Musume is DJ, but just
Yeah.
trying to like set the framework of like the otaku type, right? And
Uh-huh.
he fell out of it, he matured or whatever, but he was like really intrigued by Uma Musume. But for him, I think it was like a lot of it was like the novelty, but then the game, like, is it for you? Okay, yeah, there are story elements and beats, and like you do get attached to the characters, that's totally fine. But would you say now, like whenever you're gonna go back to Uma Musume, is it more for the characters or is it for that resource management gameplay? Which one is like the higher pull for you?
I think for the characters, like
Okay.
specifically, and I kind of regret it, but like in November they released their like Halloween characters, and one of the characters' abilities was give. She was dressed up as like a mummy, right? And her ultimate was come give mummy a hug, but obviously it's supposed to be mommy. And I was like, I
Yeah.
had to, and I ended up putting about 100. And one of my viewers, I think she ended up almost putting close to 200 to pull for the character opposite of it. That it was like, and I don't remember that character, but it's like, so
Can I say
yeah,
also, like, without even knowing the visuals, right?
yeah,
I'm gonna assume that that was wholesome because on the other end of the spectrum, like I'll be curious where it ranks on this list, right? A couple months back, Brown Dust 2 had their ghost character,
yeah.
and like, oh, boo, I'm gonna scare you. It was not a scary face. Like, I don't know what world that's a scary, frightening face. It was something else. But I'm sure it had a big impact on people pulling for that one. But yeah, just like how you spin this type of stuff. Am I right in assuming that the mummy thing in Uma Musume was pretty wholesome? It wasn't
I
horny or
mean,
anything like
like,
that.
well, one of the things that I like about Ume is like it's not on the nose degen, because obviously well, and also like I don't know how that conversation goes, but like obviously their outfits aren't super revealing, like none of them have butts. Like I'll just just being frank, like none of them have that built of the appeal, but like they all have personality and like bigger, like chest basically, right? And so this one, while it is wholesome, like she has like most of her body covered in mummy wraps, but over her outfit, right? Like she still has her shorts on and her like jacket on, but obviously it's more revealing. So like the mummy wraps are around her. So while it is wholesome, like the ult is her extending a hug. and obviously the emphasis goes to the chest. So it's like it's not so bad that I would be ashamed, like if I was on the bus plane, which obviously this game is made for, right? Like to be played as you're transversing. Like it's nothing I would be ashamed about. Like if I was playing like more of like Nikkei, and I had like every swimsuit team on, like obviously yeah. So that's one thing I like about Ume. Is like I don't have to defend it once people actually look at it, right? Whereas like Nikkei or some other games, they're gonna be like, wow, bro, you're just gooning, and I'm like, bro.
It's tough too sometimes because, like, for example, Azure Lane, where I don't even know if it's ranked on this list anymore, but the actual gameplay. I do want to note that I've heard that Azure Lane has turned super degen in the past couple of years. I stopped playing quite a while back, right? But the thing that would catch you in public, right, was not the gameplay, but the loading screens. Everything would be really tame, and then, like, for whatever anniversary event, they commission special artists, and like the loading screen will be bam. But since it's our first episode, man, I want to do just a quick tangent on you're talking about butts, right? I'll say this, so you don't have to say anything. Feel free to comment more if you want to, but I just want to make the point known that I am not a butt dude, but to your fact that because it's so part of the mainstream culture now, big booty baddies, whatever, when it's not there, it's super noticeable, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want to point out. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, like whether it does for you, I don't care, man. Like you enjoy whatever you want, but I'm like, whoa, when it is freaking like a Lego body, right? Like when that's happening, and what gets me too, because one of the things that I'm looking forward to being able to talk gacha games with you, whatever direction we decide to go, is just having the conversation, man. Like I don't get it because I think a lot of the age groups for some of these gacha, they can run younger, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's like, mommy this, mommy that. Ooh, she's so thick. She's so thick. And when it's that type of character, I'm like, oh man, like I don't know if they're just memeing. Like this is like the joke that they want to go to. Something is wrong with their eyes, dude. Like get this kid to surgery ASAP, man, because like they don't know what a butt is, man. Like it's it's gonna mess them up.
they don't know what butt cheeks are, bro, because that ain't it. But what do I want to say to that? So here's what I'll say.
Okay.
I think in my attraction, I think I do prefer there to be some behind, but not like ginormous, or anything like that. But like for me, it's more of like where it, gosh, this whatever we're talking about it is when it goes butts to thighs. Like that's what I like more when there's good proportions. But when it's weird where they'll have like skinny legs and then a butt and then like, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's like for me, it's like more of proportions. If it's accurate and looks good, it's fine, But yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to like shoehorn and like force the connection every single time, but what you're talking about, how Japanese devs in particular. So again, Musume with Side Games, Japanese dev, right? They, for whatever reason, when they want to make a curvy character, it's curvy at the top or busty on the top, right? And you know what other franchise that we're aware of that does the exact same thing? Dead or Alive. No butts in that game. And I never really noticed it because I'm not seeking that. But when I saw, I think his name, Emery Reigns, like one of the more prominent Dead or Alive content creators, he was talking about, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't complain, but he's not wrong. Can't argue with it. It's like, man, Rachel or whoever, Kasumi, all of them look all right. And it's like, man, it goes whoop. It's just like, I think like they did it. The Lego effect again, I'm telling you, man.
I think for me, it's the outfits like that attract me more. Like, there's this big thing on my channel that a long time ago I said that I'm not a feet guy, but I'm a sock guy. I really love socks, but not feet. And so I love outfits whenever they're like, like ninja type characters, right? And they have like super high knee socks, right? Or whatever, like stuff like that. Like, so for me, it's more of outfits, and I wish we meant more to that. But I feel like now, especially since the whole space of gacha feels very goony, whether it's Love and Deepspace or which is like extreme being wrapped in chains and choked up against the wall, or Nikkei got us a victory. Well, not even Nikkei. Let's just say Love and not Love and Deepspace. Brown does too, where now it's like how you said, ooh, I'm spook. You know, like it's like, come on, you know, it's like I kind of wish it was, you know, I kind of wish it was back to how it used to be back then. Like whenever like we grew up playing like Final Fantasy games or these like Resident Evil type games where you're like, whoa, this chick's hot, and 9 times out of 10 you didn't even see anything. But it was just the outfit. It was very attractive and appealing, you know. But now it's like, hey, bro, she needs to be having a waterfall go down her toes and into my character's mouth, or I don't want it. And it's just like, I'm like, you know, okay. But, you know what, let's move on, because I'm sure that'll come up later when we talk about other gachas.
Okay. Yeah.
Where did we leave off? On Dragon Ball Legends?
Dragon Ball Legends. Oh, and then going down to, like, another classic, man. Like, I don't know how old this game is. Puzzles and Dragons?
Puzzles and Dragons, but Puzzles and Dragons, you already know who plays this game, you know? It's people who really just want to, like, just love spending time and probably like, once in a while, very cool visuals. So this makes sense. And look at that. They literally stayed at the same. I guarantee you next month we'll see them at 12 million, too. I think they have a loyal fan base.
12.4 million to 12.6 million. So because I jumped the gun there, but saying it. But
and then coming at 17 million. Coming in 17 is One Piece Bounty Rush. I don't know much about this game, but how you said, I imagine it's another, you know, like quick cash grab. Yeah, probably gonna end. Let me go down the list. Coming in at number 18, a game I've actually wanted to try but haven't is Battle Cats. Battle Cats is obviously a very simple game. It's like a little combat-y game. You collect your cats, you do little events, you know. They went from actually they stayed pretty even from 9 million to 9.8 million to 9.9 million. Next up is a controversial game that it looks like, some positivity. Infinity Nikke from 3 million to 9 million, and good for them. You want to know what? This is a game I wanted to try, but they had such a horrible launch that I just kept it off my phone. That I was like, you know what? I'll wait till later. But they do have that Silent Hill collab, or they had it, that I was like, I actually really like Silent Hill F. Like, I haven't beat it yet, but I really enjoyed it.
What a bizarre collab to have, because I feel like Infinity Nikke is like very slice of life, easygoing. I hear it had like, what I knew about Infinity Nikke was, I think, yes, it was unoptimized when it launched, but the goodwill of this game was really strong, where it had like a 4.5 rating for a long time. Then it reached some patch and they redid the story. They pulled a bait and switch with some of the rewards, and then it got review bombed, where it dropped to like a 2-point-something rating. Yeah. And I think like slowly it's been able to recover. Celestial, who hangs in the chat sometimes, like she jumped on board after all the controversy, so she didn't have to like worry about being upset on how things used to be. So she's just enjoying it as it is. But I remember, I'm pretty sure Infinity Nikke used to be like a top 10er, right?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so. Only because again, it had such a controversial start. You know, they had the whole thing where they didn't deliver on, like, I forgot what it was, but they just had like they had a really rough few 6 months, and I think they started to try to fix things, but then people weren't liking it. But it looks like whatever they did this last month must have really taken off. It's one of those games that, like, again, like, even though it's a more like girly type game, I was like, oh, you know, I still try it.
Yeah, I think as far as like open world exploration and like a fairly decent combat system, you know, it could be, it doesn't have to be, because plenty of women play Genshin also, but if that just wasn't on their radar, or Genshin is old and they want something newer, like I feel like Infinity Nikke could do the trick for whoever.
Yeah. So that was Infinity Nikke, and they were at spot number 19, and coming in at number 20 is Blue Archive. Blue Archive went from 5 million to 9 million. Good for them. Blue Archive is one of those games. I tried it. I played it. They have characters that are obviously very attractive, but it's very free to play friendly. I know it is. It's just, you know, it didn't really draw me in. It's also one of those games that has the very Eastern type UIs where they have everything in one screen, and, you know, just not a big fan of that. Coming in at number 21 is Honkai Star Rail from 27 million to 8 million. And I don't know why. I imagine obviously they probably had a really good banner in December or something, and then January probably fell off. But I think they're also teasing their newest chapter expansion coming out like in a month, I think.
So out of all the Hoyo games, I follow Star Rail the least, and like I really haven't put any time into it. I think probably like 45 minutes at most before I uninstalled it, right? But
Yeah.
what I hear from the community, man, is I think that there's like a pretty big love-hate relationship with Star Rail where a lot of the people who are still playing right now, they probably should give up because they're just playing out of misery. Because like there's a lot of like auto clear tickets, I think was like the quality of life update that people had where people are just logging in to do like that clean sweep. They're not even like playing the game anymore. Like they have their characters that they built up. Some upcoming banners are mixed, but it's a turn-based gotcha game where people don't want to do the combat anymore. So I think
Yeah.
that's kind of a tough place to be.
Which is ironic because the combat was really cool. I stopped playing Honkai Star Rail. I'm not gonna lie, because like Hoyo is like $1 billion company, and they couldn't be bothered to animate the mouths during like text to speech conversations. That I was
Hmm.
just like, no, I couldn't be bothered. If they're not gonna care enough to put a simple generated blabbermouth, I'm like, no. I was taken so out of that. And I know it's petty. I know it's silly. I know it's not the biggest gripe. Because again, visually beautiful game. Combat wise, it came out right before Claire Obscura came
Way
out.
before Claire Obscura, yeah.
Yeah, but like it kind of like started to forefront people coming back into the JRPG type combat mechanics because that kind of wasn't there. If you were already a Final Fantasy fan, obviously you're in that world anyways. But for the other mainstream world, they were coming back to it. But yeah, again, I just couldn't be bothered. If they couldn't be bothered to animate the mouths, I couldn't be bothered to play the game. And so coming in 22 is Reverse 1999. Reverse 1999, son of a gun, bro. They keep taking my $5 every other few months, but golly, and it's so weird because I'm saying that I like story. Holy crap! This game is a audio novel hidden inside of a gacha game. My goodness, they literally have like 5 missions in a row of dialogue, and they make each dialogue a mission, and I'm like, why? But people love it. Like again, that fan base, they love it. They go for it. They are in it. But man, I play it for like a day and I'm out. But they went from 3 million to 7 million, and that's because they recently had a new story expansion, and I think this last month they just dropped a bigger one that like really people are hyping. So we might see our number go up. Coming in at number 23, I think that's where we are. Yep, Jujutsu Kaisen combined with the China servers and our servers went from 9 million to 7 million, and that's probably one of those games that's probably we'll probably see in the next year go out of service soon.
Hmm.
Let me go ahead and scroll down. But all right.
Okay.
So, all right, coming in at number 29, we're going to speed through run these. We didn't see how much time we're taking. It's Cooking Run Kingdom, went from 5 to 7 million. Dragon Traveler hit 7 million, but I'm imagining this game's probably going to die within a year. It's a auto battler that's just, there's so many auto battlers. Like, there's one that came out recently called, I don't think it's on this list. It might be, is Lost Sword, which is like Gunner Central, but it's the only auto battler I played for a month. So but yeah. Coming up at number 26 is Shadowverse Worlds Beyond from 4 million to 6 million. I'm glad to see they're picking up. I know that they had a very rocky launch because of monetization, so it's good to see that maybe they're fixing things. Coming up at number 27, we have Marvel Conscious of Champions, went from 13 million to 6 million. That's a game I played too. I've played for a very long time. What is it, 8 years? I think they just celebrated. I think I've been playing it for 7. Again, on and off. It's one of those games where it's like, it's really fun and I'll get into a guild. Kind of how you said earlier. If you're not really doing the PvP, you're really not going to have much fun in it. Like, that's kind of like the goal. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but Idol Master went from 8 million to 6 million. I imagine that's probably some kind of like dress up type, collect resource game. This game, can't pronounce it either. Again, you? Do you know how to pronounce it?
Amioji.
Yeah.
Only.
Yeah. That game's been around forever too. I think I've
Yeah.
seen it for years. I'm pretty sure I've tried it, but they are staying even basically 5.8 to 5.7. Coming in at we're going to go down. Coming in at number 30, we have Miku. Colorful Stage went from 4 million to 5 million. I've been meaning to try this game. I think I've downloaded it, but I had to uninstall it for other games to try. But I do want to try it. But I imagine this is also in the realms of Idle, I imagine. Uh, 31 is Light and Night. I've actually never heard of this game, I think. They went from
It,
2
it,
million.
yeah, it looks like the same demo for Love and Deep Space is just my guess
Yeah.
from the image.
Oh, I mean, it might be, huh? It might be the copy or the extension of Live in Deep Space from 2 million to 5 million. So clearly they had a good month. This next game too, I've never heard of it. Beyond the World. It's just a China game, so that's why. They stayed they stayed exactly even. Good for them. That's also a good a good testament of a game. I think if they can keep even and not really fluctuate, then that means they have something good. I think going on there. Coming in at number 33 is Chaos Zero Nightmare from 11 million to 5 million. I'll probably give my 2 cents of chaos towards the end. Coming in at number 34 is Summoner's War, still kicking and thriving in 2026 from 8 million to 5 million. Again, but I think they also announced that they have a collab with like Lord of the Rings coming up. So again, I imagine like they're going to shoot. I was thinking about installing it because of the Lord of the Rings collab. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a good month for them in the next event or the next revenue. Trickle Revive went from 3 million to 4 million, so good for them. Not sure what that game is. I have to imagine it's probably an idle game as well. Bleach Soul Resonance went from 10 to 4. Again, probably a game we'll see end pretty soon. Disney Twisted Wonderland combined went from 3 million to 4 million. This is like kind of like a dating simulator, kind of. It's like a dating
It's
simulator.
like one of the
Yeah.
few other Husbando games
Yeah.
where I think the designs are pretty legit, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean
I'm
it's been around for a while, so it looks like they're still doing well. As you mentioned earlier, Azur Lane went from 9 million to 4 million. I'll be honest. I'm gonna make a hot take here, but I think we're gonna see Azur Lane go into service pretty soon here. I think maybe if not this year, I think probably next.
No, I think you're right because what does it have left to offer? You know, because
Mm-hmm.
of course they can keep introducing new waifus and new skins and that type of thing, and that's like its moneymaker. But as far as like gameplay, I think at this point people realize that even though how it's marketed, it's like, oh, it's a bullet hell that you control. No, it's not really quite like that. The controls don't actually let you control it in a satisfying manner. Like you're gonna let it auto battle. It does become more of a resource type game. Like its initial big gimmick and unique aspect of being able to marry your ship so then you get like the buffs. I don't know how many other gacha games let you marry the character, but I don't think that's like unique enough to like give it any more longevity. I would say it had a nice long run. It used to be one at the beginning, man. It was Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and the next for me was Azure Lane. And for about like 2.5 years, I was like really into it. But I think it had a good life. It had a good run. In the it gets confusing with like the devs and the publishers. Man, there's Yostar and Manju, and I forget what type of controversy and
Yeah.
split. But these are the same people that have Blue Archive and Arknights Endfields now. So I think they're going to be okay. They also have
Yeah.
Azure Lane Promelia, their open world.
Which is coming out, I think later this year. I think.
Yeah, so again, it's fine. Like I don't think most of the fan base would be sad either. They're like, yeah, we had a
Yeah.
good run. It's all right.
Like how we're saying, like while I haven't played it either, it's kind of like how you're saying. It's like they're kind of just like reaching for straws. That I'm pretty sure
Hmm.
it's gonna go soon. But coming in at number 39 is Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross. Uh, they lost. Oh, they went from 4.6 to 4.4, which is this the one that came out like 6 years ago too? Because I was gonna say because I actually played this one for a hot
I feel
bit.
like
If
there's
it's
been
that
a
one,
couple. Like this is the confusing thing with these Bandai Namco anime IP license games. Like you can never tell from the title. I'm gonna assume that this is not the old one. I'm assuming this is probably like the second or third Seven Deadly Sins one.
probably
That's my
you're right.
guess.
But coming in at number 40 is Ensemble Stars. I imagine I think everybody's saying this game's going to end the service soon, but I'm not sure why. 4.3 to 4.2. At 41 is Watchers of the Realm. I think this is a creature collector like raid type game. I think went from 4.2 to 4. Seven Knights Rebirth went from 6 million to 4 million. Seven Knights Rebirth, I didn't try it, but I did play the original Seven Knights because I feel like if you played gachas, I feel like Netmarble has been in your phone
Yeah.
for a while. You know, whether it be Marvel, which they had Future Fight, which I also played and sunk money into, or Seven Knights, or all those other little. See, the weird thing about Netmarble is they made such cool games that just died because they suck,
Yeah.
right? Because they suck as a company. But they had great IPs, great ideas. They were literally like, they understood, let's just make a game, make it semi-fun, and let's monetize it to hell, and it just dies. But, yeah. Netmarble, man, come on. Coming in at number 43 is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Master, which stayed exactly even, which I think is consistent with it. Coming in at 44 is One Piece Treasure Cruise from 3.7 to 3.9. Given that title, I have no idea what the hell that game would be about. Coming in at number 45 is Slime. Don't know much about this game either, but from 2.4 to 3 million. At 46, Life Makeover combined with Global from 6.0 to from 6 million to 3 million, which I imagine that's maybe a husbando type game. It looks like from the cover. Shining Nikkei, I've never heard of this one.
No clue.
They stayed basically even. Memento Mori globally went from 4.0 to 3.0. I know people really like Memento Mori. A lot of people like hype it up and love it. And following similar bracket of games that are beloved is Limbus Company from 1.7 to 3 million. This game, again, I've heard great things of it, never played it. And then closing off the list in a surprising turn is Brown Dust 2 from 6 million to 2 million. Now, go. You have thoughts?
Well, I was just gonna say that obviously it's a lot of red flags, right? Because of the dip and then its placement on this list. But I know that they had so much trouble getting the PC port going that it was announced, it was delayed, then they pulled it back. Like then they said they were going to reveal stuff that was censored and they had to walk it back. I wonder if this is just kind of like that backlash towards that, where I think it's resolved now. That I think it's properly on Steam without any kind of censorship. If like that's the thing that's going to tick you off or whatnot. So I will be really curious to see if it's still around, this coming year, or if this is really getting to the point where we're hitting the nails in the coffin for Brown Dust 2.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this game and another game that kind of were not bad games, but they were dying pretty quickly, called Snowbreak, really went a huge 180 of like, let's have a kind of good story, let's have some cute characters, show the titties. It's like they just really went around. Like Brown Dust 2, I really liked when it came out because of its because it was cool. It was like, there's another one. There's like another like old type JRPG type game, like type Game Boyish game, and that was really cool. The appeal. It was just one of those games. Again, it's not that I didn't like it, but it just ended up falling out of my rotation because maybe Nikkei had a new event or something, and I ended up just having to get rid of it because it just got so big. And it's a game that I'll reinstall from time to time, depending on the collabs. Like they had a Goblin Slayer collab about 6 months ago, and I reinstalled it to go grab the free Goblin Slayer guy. But yeah. So if we're just gonna talk about this list, I think the one, since we're coming close to our cutoff time, Arknights Endfields. So this hot new game that came out, the first, let's say, Titan of 2026. There's about a couple more, like you said, Azur Lane, Promolia, Silver Palace. Is that what it's called? Or Silver?
Yes.
Yeah.
People are debating whether or not it's actually going to come out this year or not. And then you have stuff like Neverness to Everness, and then Amananta. Like those two Grand Theft Auto type gotcha things are like probably the biggest ones on people's radar, I think.
I think Anata, they said I think they already said it's not coming out this year.
Okay. I mean, that's good for them. I think honestly,
that's gonna be. Do you want to know what sucks about it? Before we start talking about Arknights, the thing that sucks about it is, man, these are supposed to be mobile games, but if you don't have a 150 gigs open for it, you might as well just get it on your PC or PlayStation, whichever it comes out on. But Arknights Endfield. So, I know you have more grievances with the game than I do. Now, so here's what I'll say. I have tried every of these open world games except for Tower Fantasy. I haven't tried Tower Fantasy just because I was never appealed to it. And then they did the same thing where they went the more Gooner route to survive. What was I gonna say? Arknights Endfield is the first open world-ish. Obviously, it's not super open world, but the more open world type game
in that category.
Yeah, that I actually enjoy. And I'm going to give it 100% to the combat. I'm currently playing Withering Waves, or going to go through it, which I actually might do after the stream. I might just marathon Withering Waves today so I can try to like catch up with you in the story, and so we have more talking points on that. But Withering Waves, great combat. I hate that basically after your like third pull, you take out the main protagonist. And to be fair, you can in Arknights Endfield too, but you basically get your banner characters and just use the banner characters. What I like about Arknights Endfield, and I might be ignorant because I haven't played Genshin all the way, I haven't played all these games all the way, I love that your team is fighting with you and you actually build combos with them that then, now, obviously, after about half an hour, you understand the mechanic, you understand the combos, you understand, and you're either gonna like it or you're not. But I'll be honest, I love with a passion that if, let's say, a year from now, I spend $100 and something on a character, that I'm gonna be able to see that character playing alongside my character, and not that, okay, time to switch to this character, time to switch to this character. Now, obviously, you can if you want to, but I love that you don't have to yet. Maybe as the game progresses and they introduce new bosses and mechanics, maybe you'll have to switch to your other characters and have to, perfectly timed triggered. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, zero argument from me on that point there. I feel like when it comes to the combat, that's one of the biggest selling points. I wish it would have just, like, hit me more on that front. I was going to ask you, Fabian, like, bear with me because we're going to circle back to this. But do you enjoy Souls likes? Do you f with like that type of combat, like that type parry window and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay. So did you beat Elden Ring?
So no, but I have like 80 to 100 hours into Elden Ring.
Okay. And again, like, I'm not trying to like, oh, tell me your street cred. I'm just trying to say, like, if you have affinity for,
are you a gamer?
if you can like legit play Souls likes and appreciate that, it makes total sense for me why, despite what you said about Withering Waves and Zenless, and like, yeah, I'll focus on those two. They might not hit in the same way because you can play the real thing. Okay. So for me, I hate Souls likes. So for me, the babyfied, forgiving parry window, the dodge of Zenless and Withering Waves, it hits for me.
Yeah.
So now, even though you're talking about like, and again, like, I don't disagree with you. Like, yeah, being able to see your party members, like, that is like a great thing. Like, I wish like my other characters that I'm not controlling, they're doing more activity instead of having to wait until like I tag them.
Hold on. Where we have the camera dissing from your voice.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and rejoin the call. Like, so if you want to leave the call real quick and come back.
All right. Ooh, memento.
Yeah. All right. Let me.
How we doing here?
Let me reset your voice.
Check.
Try again.
Mic check.
It's better. It's weird. It looks like it's like it's better. It's better than what it was.
Okay.
But go on.
So, because you can handle the real Souls likes, it makes sense that you would be kind of annoyed with like the dummy down version of Wuwa and Zenless Zone Zero, even if that's not the thing that immediately comes to mind. And I don't think you're fibbing when you say that you really enjoy seeing your other party members being more active in combat.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, even if that's something that you acknowledge, it's more of like the combat mechanic stuff itself that's actually hitting for you. So that was all I was going to point out there. So I don't disagree with you, but I wonder if like your gaming background also has like a bigger influence on like what you're kind of gravitating towards on that.
I mean, because I think I said I love the combat at Withering Waves. The Withering Waves combat, and I think it got better than when it was at launch. But when it was at launch, it was great for what it was, a mobile game, right? But I think
Mhm.
they kind of started switching from like, yeah, we're a mobile game, and then obviously
Yeah.
try to turn it more into a real game, which I am excited to go back and play it. What killed Genshin for me and what killed Withering Waves for me was the beginning intros of, oh, you're a hidden protagonist from a far off world and now everybody just loves you. Whereas here, similar type story, you have amnesia, whatever, but it's not like you're some mysterious stranger that fell out of the sun and they're just like, hey, I love you. Like, it's like, it's not that. It's like, oh, hey, Commander, you woke up. It's time to get to work. Like, oh, you forgot how to swing your sword? Let's teach you. And I think that's a little better to me and more stomachable than like, whoa, what happened? Where am I? Then I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, come on.
I think again, like the way that this conversation is going is like I don't disagree with you. I think it's more so like because I've dealt with it already. Like I have my place with Genshin. You have the amnesia.
Yeah.
Wuwa, you have the amnesia, right? Zenless, you don't. Um, but because I have that, even though it is different, and yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you that it is probably better in manifesting that way. Hey, let's get back to work instead of everybody immediately falling in love with you. I do want to be clear that I don't enjoy that aspect of Withering Waves. I think it
Yeah.
is weird, especially at my age. Like that's just not what I'm looking for in the medium. It's fine for
Yeah.
other folks to like build their harem and like they want that aspect of it. That's fine. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying for me. But because it's like man, another amnesia thing. And also, I think
Yeah.
honestly, the base principle of dude, it's hard to juggle gotcha. So I
Yeah.
have Wuthering Waves as like one of the main priorities. I have Genshin on the back burner. I knew it was going to be a tall ask, a tall order to get Arknights Endfield in the mix. And could I kind of make it work? Like, could I give it some more time? I could, but after an hour, I could say, like, man, it's doing XYZ great in a different lifetime, in a different world, I would have it in my rotation. I think
Yeah.
I'm good. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't I wasn't pissed off when I uninstalled it. It was me thinking through it's like, dude, realistically, like I barely have enough time to play the games I want to play right now, right?
Yeah.
Like think about where I am in Wuthering Waves, even though I'm calling it one of my top two gotchas, like how little I'm progressing in it. I'm like, man, how much how much how little am I going to progress in Wuwa and Zenless if I throw this in here as like another main rotation game, you know?
Yeah, it's for me too. Like while I'm singing its praises, I'm singing its praises because I liked it at launch, you know. And so, but much like you, it's like I've put maybe 2.5 hours into it, and a lot of that
Okay.
was just roaming the map and killing monsters. I wasn't even doing what the game wanted me to, which was continue building the base, right? Which I know is a
Yeah.
huge factor of that game. So I might also end up not be playing it. I mean, I'm not even actively playing it much right now. I think I'm still like, I think I'm still like level 5. Like I'm not far at all. But how you said, I really enjoy the combat. I really, and to me, one of the things that makes me want to keep going back to Zenless is while I do feel like I agree with you, that combat feels a little slow to me. I love the utility of your partners isn't just I'm switching to them and just that's it. You know,
Mm.
I love the combo, which is so weird to me because I remember reading on the Reddit that some people were like really, and I think they did install it or did add it, but for a long time they wanted them to add a turn off Collins or
Yeah.
that combo because it ruins your damage. And I'm like,
Mhm.
that's the only reason the game's cool is because you can
Yeah.
call in your partners and have the cool little interactions. No, Zenless Zone Zero for again the my biggest enemy of Zenless Zone Zero is just its UI. If it
Yeah.
had a
And
better
that's
UI,
fair.
I would play. And I'm not gonna lie. Well, yeah, I guess it all falls under the UI because like it gets so. I don't want to say monotonous or it's more confusing. It gets confusing when it's trying to tell you to level up your character's backpack, which is its source of power, but like how do you level it up? Well, you didn't read the simple box? Well, you're shit out of luck, you know, for the time being.
Dude,
And I'm like,
as much as fighting game tutorials get crapped on, like it's equally deserved with gotchas. And the whole nature of the show, being able to have this conversation with you, it's like I think this is why it's really important because would I want more people to try out Zenless and Wuwa, and man, it would be so awesome if they enjoyed it like I did. Of course, but that doesn't happen when I say, Fabian, get over yourself, man. You're being ridiculous. Like the UI isn't that bad. No, you have to be like, yes, the UI fucking blows, dude. It's OCD hell. Like when you see
Yeah.
all those red flag triggers or whatever. And like if we can't have that discussion, no way you're just gonna like blindly walk into it and like enjoy the game, you know? So I it's not even like playing devil's advocate or doing reverse psychology. Most of the time when I'm trying to make like a niche game, I don't know if like this counts as niche game stuff, right? But like in the past niche game recommendations, I usually try to talk people out of it first because I want to acknowledge the faults for what they legitimately are. Something that you didn't mention on Arknights Enfield, and maybe you don't touch it, like only being 2.5 hours in and only being level 5 and not doing the story mode. Like I could care less about the base building mechanic. Like I saw that,
Yeah.
like everything that you said about the parties being your party members being participants in battle, I'm like, hell yes. Seeing the
Yeah.
base building mechanic, I'm like, no, I will never give a f about this. Like I do not want to play. And again, like that's part of the reasoning and like the logic is like, well, if that's such a big component of the game, and like that's legitimately why people are checking it out, isn't that like a disservice to myself where
Yeah.
it's not to say that I can't just play the game and just enjoy the combat and like pulling characters. I'm sure I totally could, but like missing out on like 2/3 of the game, is that the way to do it?
Yeah, it's kind of also too. While I'm thinking about coming back to Wuthering Waves, I really want to stay free to play, but I'm
Hmm.
thinking too, like, well, hold on a second. If I'm not using some of these big damage characters, which I know I don't need, but obviously, like you said, is a big part of the game, right? Like some chapters are tailored to specific characters. That I'm like, if I'm not trying to get X character for like what it's intended, it's like, am I gonna enjoy it the way I'm going to? Because like obviously these games, as much as they want to, they're really not super story games. It's kind of like they're more of like the world games with a story is what like Genshin and these games try to do, right? Because it's like obviously there's not going to be an end. Well, until the game's end, there's usually not going to be an end point to these stories, right? It's going to be like, oh, we finished this. Oh no, the black hole of Rosa Raval opened.
Yeah,
You know, it's like
yeah.
so it's like these games aren't like Dungeons and Dragons storytelling type games. It's more of like you're in the Dungeons and Dragons world, and that's more of what the game is. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of goes to what you're saying that I'm like, I don't know. It's very interesting. Like for instance, I guess to kind of to piggyback off that point, like do games have to be great? Like I don't know if you played it, but Blue Shining Resonance came out in like December, November ish, and that's like a kind of MMO game, right? An MMO
Mm.
anime type game. I thought it was very humorous, but I uninstalled it because at that point in time I was playing RuneScape. But there was nothing bad about
Mm.
it. There was nothing great about it either. There was nothing I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you, calm, bro, dude. Wow. No, and you know what? And I'm like, you know what? And I'm thinking about even with that mindset of like, it could be a background game while I'm watching a YouTube video. You know, like I'm like, hey, you know what? I might get it on my computer again. It wasn't
I
bad. It
mean,
was a little humorous.
well, that's the thing, dude. Like we have so many options is kind of the thing. So you're not wrong. Where do you need like the latest and greatest, or does it even have to be amazing if it's like good enough? But it really goes down to like where you are in your life right now. And I don't mean that in like a big pressure moment thing either. It's just like how much free time you got. And when
Yeah.
you have free time, how much energy you got and how much focus you want to have, right? So I know that influences me a lot now. Where are there still plenty of like fighting games I want to play? Yeah, but between the fighting game where I got to be way more focused versus like doing the gotcha thing where I can kind of half-ass it, man, the gotcha is like way more appealing with like the limited game time I got. So it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Well, I guess to wrap up our thoughts, I know we wanted to talk about our spending, but I think we could save that for our next episode. But I think to wrap up our thoughts, I think this month is like obviously it's the start of the year. You know, it's January. January, universally in almost every business, they usually have nothing, right? That's the recuperating month. That's a recuperating month. You know, you're recharging. The holidays just came around. Whether you celebrate them or not, especially in the gacha communities, there were tons of banners, tons of pools, tons of everything that you could have been involved with. Like, again, like, I know we'll talk about our spending and our habits the next time, but I'd say from December to now, I probably easily put like 500 north into gacha games, not just one game, you know, into many games. So for me, it's like, you know, like I'm like, you know, so yeah, so I think January is going to be a slow month. The biggest shocker to me, let's just do, the biggest shocker to me was honestly, Brown Dust 2 being so low. And obviously, I agree with you. I know because in January they were trying to censor, but they ended up saying no. So that probably had a huge effect on them. But still, to be that low, especially with the, I mean, it's called fan service, but I mean, at this point, it's just
it's way more egregious than that.
It's like especially with the fan service. I would have thought they'd be a little bit higher than where they are. But you want to know what's interesting though? I'll say something. I find it funny that Raid Shadow Legends also isn't on here because there is no way that they did not make bank off the Assassin's Creed collab they just had and all that. That I'm like, there's no way that they wouldn't not be on here.
Again, maybe it's all on PC.
Like, you know what? Yeah, maybe you're right.
When people are playing Raid Shadow Legends, they're just not playing on their phone because
I know
maybe the
a lot
PC
of
is more
people
optimized too.
A lot of people use emulators to play games.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if those even, because I know when you make purchases, those still count like towards Google or Apple.
Yeah.
Depending on your respective emulator.
Well, it's like a weird gray area. So as far as like how it's actually filtered, I'm not sure either.
Yeah, but what about you? What's something that what stood out to you in the month of January for our gachas?
I guess like I commented on them. Like, I'm not so surprised at their placements, but I am just like always kind of like, man, like Zenless only makes that amount of money. Wuwa only makes that amount of money. Honkai Star Rail only makes that amount of money. Like, just the sheer dominance of Genshin is like really impressive, you know, where I'm not shocked that Genshin's that dominant, like, because it continues to be like that's one of like the guarantees as the month to month goes. But it's just like such a huge gap. Not only are they ahead, they are so freaking far ahead. When is Genshin actually better than all this other stuff? Like that's just like the off the cuff thought right there.
I mean, I will say like you know, as we're coming to a close here, I will say Genshin obviously is like the grandfather of all these open world mobile games that I think naturally it's gonna, like, I'll be honest, I think if, like, you know, if by some chance we're still doing this 10 years from now, I think Genshin's still gonna be top 10. I think Genshin will always have a place. I think Genshin will turn into what World of Warcraft RuneScape is in its respective genre. That, like, are there better games like that come out in that genre? Probably, but you're probably always going to end up going back to, you know, your home base, which in this case would be Genshin. That it's like, you know, I know we talked about Silver Palace coming out, Azur Promelia. I'm sure they're going to be great games, but I guarantee you we'll see it for 6 months that they're on the top, and then we'll see Genshin just hit right back number one. Because it's just like Genshin, while I don't play it, I'm not going to be naive. You know, they do have a lot of characters, and they, from what I understand, have a lot of well-written stories for these characters that a lot of the time, that's all you need. Yeah. And again, it's one of those games, too, that it's not sexualized love. It's attachment love, which is way stronger than titties. Because titties come and go, you know? Titties, there's billions of titties in the world.
Put that on the tombstone.
I put it on my tombstone. Titties come and go. But, you know, but that's the thing, right? Like, I know you and I have been talking about Nikki Goddess of Victory. Well, yes, the characters are attractive. It's really the story that makes that game so appealing, not just to me and you, but to a lot of people. It's like the story, and then cool, they're hot. It works out, 50-50. But it's like, but one thing that I like about Genshin and I respect, and I wish I could get into it, but like how you and I talked off stream, the whole stamina feature is just, is like they. Well, again, or am I going to sit here and say that they probably don't have some boobalicious ladies? Yeah, they probably
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah,
But it's not like, hey, they're only wearing a potato chip, you know? Like, it's like, no, they have their dress or their exquisite outfit or whatever, and they're on fire or something, you know? So it's like, you know, like, it's cool. And so that's why I think Genshin will always success and have success. And I think if, for whatever reason, there's some, like, you know, early developers listening to us, I think oftentimes if you stay true to the point of make your game fun and make your game worth playing, don't rely on eye candy, and I think you'll make a game that'll last a long time, or be one of those games that, like how you and I were talking off stream, that we're talking about 20 years later because, like, wow, that game was really good, you know, or hey, did you try this game? Like Kingdom Hearts, while it is the test of time, people love it, and it's great. Why? Because the characters were so great. The story was great. It's not because I forget the main protagonist name, but it's not that
Sora,
he was.
yeah.
Yeah, it isn't that Sora was half naked and only covered his dong with the keyblade. You know, no, it's not because of that. Whereas a lot of these games are turning to, right. Like, I know we're talking about Nikke, but Nikke, sometimes the outfit's just covered because the way they're shooting and their elbow and the sun glistens in the right spot. You know, the classic anime manga trope where it covers up because the sun or steam, you know, is in the frame. But so, you know, guys, Com, do you have any closing thoughts on our first episode?
I could say it off air or on air, man. Like, what do you want to think? Like, if we want to talk shop open in public, what would you prefer?
Shop off stream more of content what we talked about. Obviously, to wrap up the episode, like, do you have any
Yeah,
closing
yeah.
thoughts?
Again, like it's nothing like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah, yeah.
man, yeah, Fabian,
You're
because
like,
nothing like that.
bro.
Just
You're like,
watch,
you
watch
like
the time.
butts? Ew.
No, I do look forward, like, now that we kind of got like the rhythm of the format and we're gonna continue to tweak that. I do look forward to, like, the monthly report is cool, but like
Yeah.
having that sort of less be the focus so we can get into like those spin-off conversations. I'm looking forward to that. I think as a first episode run, pretty good, man. But yeah, like, I think honestly diving a little bit more on the spending habits. You said you spent north of 500. I just want to, so you're not alone in that. I spent around probably 250, 300, I think, in the past month.
Rookie numbers
Is where I was.
Okay, we gotta get those numbers up.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, once again, so there's our first episode of Gacha Pity Livin. Hopefully we'll be putting out more content throughout the weeks leading up to it, so that way, you know, the algorithms and YouTube, right, it favors content. So we'll be seeing different things from myself, from Com. You can catch Com streaming, though, usually on the weekends and the mornings, usually mornings, I think, on any time zone. He's usually have on Twitch at Com Dao. You can see his name right there. The links will be in the bio. And then my name's Sir Fabian on Twitch, but I'm trying to do a little something different. Like I said, rebranding. So maybe my links might not be there, or they might be there. But yeah, you're more than welcome to see us, guys. And hopefully we'll see you guys on our next videos. Be kind to each other. Adios.